Welcome to a brand new show inside Georgia High School Recruiting. I'm your host, Najeh Wilkins. I cannot wait, guys. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today. We're going to have all of the top recruits across the state of Georgia. We'll have some in studio, obviously. We'll have a lot via Zoom. But coming up on today's show, we're going to have Benjamin Wolk of Dawgs247 on the show to talk about the latest with official visit season officially here, y'all. So we're going to have him on the show. We'll have a Will Rajecki for a call. He's blowing up in recruiting, 3-star prospect, 1,500-yard rusher, over 2,000 all-purpose yards. We'll also have him as well on the show. And we're going to open up with some of the top recruitments, commits, and all that good stuff. What's the latest going around the state? We'll have a Max Brown for an official interview about him committing to Clemson and joining Big Bro, Sammy Brown, also on the show. And then segment 3, we'll have a lot of fun time there as well with a Let 'Em Cook. It'll be a lot of fun, man. So y'all stay tuned for that. But y'all, appreciate y'all coming in. Obviously, into the show, we got a lot in store for you guys for today. So let's go ahead and get started as I make my way to the desk to take a seat. All right, so big time recruitment news, obviously here. So let's go ahead and start. Max, where we start? All right, there it is. So let's go over On3's Georgia High School results for the class of 2026. The top players, we've seen a lot of these guys in person. The highest rated is still uncommitted currently right now, and that's Tyler Atkinson of Grayson. We know how phenomenal he is. He had 200 tackles his sophomore season. This past season, did it again, over 150-plus tackles. Outstanding player for the Grayson Rams. Him and Anthony Davis, some of the best ones in the country. Jordan Edmonds, we had a chance to see him on Peachtree Sports Network on TV when Sprayberry ended up playing, obviously, in their game. He is committed to Alabama. Obviously, very good for them. They got Zion Gibson as well, who's another outstanding player in Alabama. Then you have Xavier Griffin. Very interesting recruitment, to say the least, with Griffin. As I've been saying, obviously on Georgia High School Sports Daily, I do believe that Bama is a lock here. We're starting to see some predictions roll in for some of the experts, like Steve Wifflong, who believes Griffin will be an Alabama Crimson Tide. He's obviously taken some OVs, Ohio State. Bama, I believe he recently took. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. But I do have Bama for this one from what I heard per sources. So that would be very interesting to see as well. All right, next up you have Caden Prothero, who recently had an OV to Georgia. That feels like that's the right spot for him. But Florida's in that conversation as well. So it'll be interesting to see, obviously, what the young man does. Plays for Bowdoin, 3-time state champ. I mean, that's probably one of the best programs in the state that nobody talks enough about. I know they're on a lower classification, but this is a really, really good team. All right, next up you have Bryce Perry-Wright. Feels like Bryce Perry-Wright is a lock for Clemson, in my humble opinion. Still has more OVs. Recently went to Miami, spoke very highly of the Hurricanes, one of my favorite teams in college football. But he's opened up his recruitment. They're going to be on TV, guys, to open up the season against, obviously, the Milton Eagles. 2-time state champs, 1 in 6A, beat Walton, and then this past year beat a really good Langston Hughes team. 10,000, obviously, stadium that could be seated, or a $62 million facility, obviously, out there in Beaufort. So if you want to see Bryce Perry-Wright, obviously up close and personal, that is the way to do it. He has a commitment coming up, too, I believe, set for July 4th. We'll go over his top 4 here in just a second. Oh, great job by Max, obviously, on the background. But this is his top 4, guys. Miami, Texas A&M, Clemson, and obviously Texas. So 2 Texas schools is in it for his recruitment. Again, just feels like he is a lock for, obviously, Clemson and what they're trying to do. They've been recruiting at a high level. I think they have double-digit recruits currently right now. They're trying to get also Tyler Atkinson as another guy. So it's going to be interesting to see what he chooses. But the official commitment via Hayes Fawcett will be on July 4th. All right, let's go back to that screen. And then at number 6, Tristan Givens. Givens also announced on his X page that he will be visiting the Vols this weekend. So his recruitment's been a little bit under the radar, not in terms of what he can bring to the table, but it hasn't been a lot of news. I don't think he's done a lot of interviews in terms of what I mean when I say underrated. But he is a guy to see where he's going to land. I got a chance to see him up close and personal in the spring, obviously in the showcase that they had at New Manchester, and he was lighting it up. But it's more than just Tristan Given with Columbus. They also have outstanding prospects there like Antavius Watts and so many more. KJ Miles, who was committed to North Carolina, recently went on a visit, obviously, for the Tar Heels. All right, next up, I'm not going to lie. I do think he is a little underrated in my humble opinion. That's Aaron Gregory, Texas A&M, which he shut down his recruitment this weekend. But that's a really good get for them. He is 6'2", 6'3", long, athletic, a really good route runner, creates separation at the top of his routes really well, and is a great catcher of the football. When you look at Aaron Gregory, he adds a lot to the next level, and Texas A&M has been high on him for the longest, and he's going to join his friend Jordan Carter as well, who's also committed there. And then obviously Jordan Smith, I mean, what can you say about him? 6'3", moves really well. A great pickup, obviously, for the Georgia Bulldogs to get the in-state Houston County player. We got a chance to see him in the Corkell Dave Hunter Classic. Obviously, to open the season last year as they did damage against Alpharetta, but Jordan Smith is one of one, and he is that guy, but he is committed to Georgia. And you have Deuce Geralds, who's still going through his recruitment. LSU is in there. He's taking some OVs, obviously outstanding player for Collins Hill, a team that put a lot of people on notice last year, especially beating, a really good Grayson team early on. Everybody, they rung the bell. They said, what's wrong? The alarm bell. What's wrong? What's going on with Grayson? But as we saw, Collins Hill was for real, and they didn't go out into playoffs until they had the rematch with Grayson yet again. They should be right back at the top, led by Geralds, and also Cottrell Webb, two outstanding players who are due to commit soon. Webb recently went to Purdue as an official visit. And then probably one of my favorite players on this list has to be Braden Rouse. Oh, man, this kid here, I don't feel like the top 10 does him justice. I will put him right at that top 5, right below. Actually, I will put him right below Xavier Griffin. I think he's that good and he's that talented. He's taken some OVs to Alabama. I believe he has one coming up to Tennessee. He's also been to Michigan, which he recently posted on his X page. But that kid there, I mean, the way he's grown on and off the field, you can go watch his docu-series, obviously on his YouTube handle. Did an outstanding job. Create with Dre, I believe, ended up filming that. Did a phenomenal job there. So he's going to be one to obviously watch there. So that is a little bit of the recruit news. We got more to go through, obviously, but that is the top 10 via On3. But let's get into it. We got some more headlines to talk about. Let's go ahead and go with Max Brown. We talked a little bit about Bryce Perry-Wright, but this is a big commitment. And like I said, we're going to have him on the show. We're going to, sit down, talk with him. But this was huge. So he was actually offered, guys, on June 1st. That's when his initial offer came, obviously, from Clemson. And then he committed on June 3rd. And Max didn't waste any time, guys. I mean, he felt really comfortable with the program. There's pictures all over their Instagram and obviously all over, their social media accounts with them as kids going to Clemson and going to the game. So, just to be able to, as a kid, be able to pursue your childhood dream and be able to go to a school that you've always wanted to go to, I think is special. He's being coached by Ben Boulware, who's obviously a phenomenal player for, the Clemson Tigers back when he used to play. We'll always remember, obviously, his great play on the field. We remember him playing the national championship against LSU. He's a hard-hitting linebacker that is now coaching up some of the best. And I love that Clemson allowed this early. Obviously, it's a legacy, but he's making his own mark. He's making his own name. We know what Sammy is. Sammy's a 5-star player coming out of high school out of Jefferson. Everybody wanted him. And we've seen this past year, he was the ACC Newcomer of the Year, playing at a high level. And that's what makes Clemson so different, I think, compared to other programs. Yes, they finally did hit the transfer portal this year, adding some guys, to kind of fit their scheme, fit their team. But the difference was for Clemson this year is they allow their players to play. You go look at Khalil Barnes, right? Formerly, obviously of Norfolk County. You go and look at Avion Terrell, formerly of Westlake. These guys are playing early in significant roles. So as a recruit and you're Max Brown and you see Big Bro playing and he's playing significant time and he's going to be one of the star players for this Clemson Tigers program this upcoming year, hey, why would I not want to go join Big Bro and potentially play out at least maybe a season with him as Sammy enters in his sophomore campaign? And I think that's the allure for a lot of recruits. Clemson does an outstanding job of developing, producing, and getting guys ready, not just for college, but also for afterlife and also for the next level, which is the NFL. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Outstanding guy. Stay tuned for the interview. Will be a lot of fun, to say the least. All right, we got some more headlines. Let's hit the next one. All right, this one is Cedric Addison, obviously of Peachtree Ridge, and he has a very interesting story. He kind of just blew up, very, physical, just player, running back, get the ball in his hands, let him get out into space. I believe Tech even offered him as well. But just love to see kind of him flying under the radar and then being able to just get all these offers to come in. And what's so cool is you just see the afterburners, right? These photos really illustrate that. His ability to get north and south very quickly down the field, and then he turns on the afterburners and gets down. But you have to credit Coach Matt Helmrich for the job he's doing with Peachtree Ridge. You obviously got Addison, you got Tristan Hill, who I think recently committed as well. He has so many playmakers that he can get the ball to, and for him to go to Boston College is obviously massive. It's Bill O'Brien as their head coach. So, we'll see what he's able to do. Obviously, this upcoming year, we'll have a new quarterback at the helm. It's obviously a quarterback competition there, but Addison is going to be a very good player, I think, potentially for Boston College. Guy that they can plug and play and be able to see the field, obviously, early. So he's going to be an outstanding player to continue to watch. All right, we got one more, obviously, before we wrap up this segment. Let's go ahead and go to the big one. So I actually talked to Zachary Lewis. He recently took an OV to Georgia Tech, and he felt really high about the program. He loved the academics. You know, he loved, obviously, just the culture of the team, the family element. And this past weekend, ended up going, obviously, to Georgia for OV and committed. And really his timeline, from what he told me, was July. But he decided he felt comfortable, and he committed to the Georgia Bulldogs, obviously, this past weekend, or I should say Monday, and became a Bulldog 3-star prospect. And what's so cool is Tech actually was one of the first to offer him back in June of last year. And obviously Georgia also seeing just the value that this kid has. And really the 3-star ranking doesn't really do him justice. But what caught my eye in the interview was he said, I don't really care about the accolades. I don't really care about the star rankings. I just care about putting somebody on their butt. And when you have somebody like that, a trench monster, somebody that don't care about the accolades, but hey, I want to consistently beat this guy, that is what you want. And that fits the Georgia mode of what they're building. I mean, obviously Georgia has been a perennial, contender the last few years, especially in the Kirby Smart era. But when you look at why they're so good and why they're able to produce high-end talent, especially at the offensive line position, this is why. They're getting guys, they're recruiting great in the state, and they're able to get guys to come commit to them. But what's interesting, as you wrap this up, the competition nobody's talking about is Georgia Tech and Georgia. And y'all are going to be like, what is Najee talking about? What I'm saying is the in-state battles both of these teams are going through, right? Tech wanted this guy, but Georgia was able to outbeat them, right? Let's go back to last year really quick, 2024. Georgia Tech initially had, obviously Rashawn Dinkins. Georgia basically plucked him away, ended up getting his commitment. He flips. Tech does the same thing with Christian Garrett, who was the initial Georgia commit. He ends up flipping to Georgia Tech. So it's interesting to see those minuscule details between obviously both these programs as they continue to battle and try to get some of the top talent. But that's going to do it for this segment. Coming up after the break, we have an exclusive interview with Max Brown.
Great teams are committed, focused on the details, and work hard to be their best. From practice to games, right down to their gear. Your field is a critical part of the game that allows your athletes to showcase their athletic abilities. Sports Turf is committed to bringing your team innovative sports surfaces with unparalleled performance. You bring the vision. Our team brings it to life.
This makes my dad proud. He went through his whole career as an employee. Now I'm the employer, something he didn't achieve.
We are signatory to IBEW and do IBEW people wherever we go that we feel like they are faster and better than any of our competition.
The advantages of being a signatory contractor is you're trained employees. You have unlimited manpower. It allows me to bid on jobs that I ordinarily would not go after.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Man, you know how to do this?
Man, I don't even know. I was flipping burgers last week.
Violation, unsportsmanlike conduct, impersonating a craftsman.
Skilled trade unions are well-trained career pros, not part-timers. Construction is a rewarding and lucrative career with the advancement potential, but you have to do it the right way with the right training. Learn how you can be a pro. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
Georgia High School.
All right, what's going on, y'all, man? Welcome back to another episode, man. Excited to have on a great guest, man. Top linebacker in the country, man. Max Brown of Jefferson High School, younger brother of Sammy Brown. Man, he's been doing his thing. He got to the state championship this past year. Phenomenal season for the Dragons, man. And he just recently committed. So we're going to break all that down on the show and welcome on no other than Max Brown.
What's up?
What's going on, bro? How everything going, man?
It's going great. No summer practice, getting after it.
Yes, sir, man. How's summer practice so far, man?
It's been pretty good. You know, I hurt my knee during spring, so we've just been rehabbing it, getting it ready to go for later in the summer and ready for the season.
100%, brother. Just recap real quick for the audience members that may not know you, just a little bit about how this past season went with Jefferson. Talked a little bit about it in the intro, but what did you just enjoy most of the season? Continue to perfect your craft and grow.
So one thing I enjoyed most last season was really just growing to know people on the team, like my teammates, on a deeper level, and not only just the seniors, but the rising seniors and people in my grade, so we can have a better chemistry coming up this season and have the chance to possibly be better than we were the last year. Off season, I always got to find something. So this season, I'm really working on. Last season was working with my hands, getting extension with my hands, and this year's all about getting off of it real fast, getting to the ball.
Got you. And then obviously talked about chemistry. So coming back this year, Max, you're one of the leaders of this group. So what are some things you're telling your teammates as you come into your junior season and you really try to take that next step forward along with your teammates?
I've really been emphasizing just getting out with each other outside of football, really building a friendship and a bond. And then in linebackers, I've been telling them to be the defensive quarterbacks, like making sure everybody knows the call, everybody knows where they're supposed to be. You have to learn every position so you can help everybody out around you, all your teammates.
100%, man. And then obviously your recruiting it's been great. You've been picking up so many offers. I remember seeing you as a young, freshman, compared to where you are today, man. But just talk about all the hard work you've put in to get to this point where you was able to make the decision.
It's been really, really tough on me, like even just to tell the other schools no, because, I've built really great relationships with those guys. They're great coaches, great people. I appreciate all of them. But ever since I was a little kid, the picture of me and Sammy went on the commitment, I've known that's the place. And I've tried to keep it real unbiased and real straightforward with everybody. But when it came down to it, I was ready. I was ready to commit. I told Coach Sweeney, he FaceTimed me. I was like, Coach Sweeney, I'm all in. I'm ready to commit right now.
We love to see it. And then speak of that a little bit, man. Obviously, your dad's a great person. Your mom as well, Mike Brown, Becca Brown. Where did your fandom come from for Clemson? I know you said you've been loving them since you're young. What really initially attracted you to the program?
So my dad's cousin, Erin, she was a cheerleader at Clemson. And then my dad's uncle, Tommy, is a cheer coach at Clemson. And so, just growing up all around that culture, going to games, going to camps, it's just always been surrounded me.
100%. And then obviously you got the offer June 1st. Walk me through what that process was like, just building that relationship, obviously, with the Clemson Tigers. The offer, a couple of days later, you commit. But like you said, you always knew that you wanted to go there. You try to remain unbiased, but it was just something about Clemson that stood out. But what was the initial relationship and the offer? How did that come about to be?
So my dad, I knew that they were going to offer on June 1st, which was just a matter of time and when, because they had the OVs that day. They were finishing up the OVs. And so I'm on the way to my friend's house. I'm really about to pull right into their driveway. And my dad's like, you need to call Coach Boulware right now. And I was like, all right. So I call him. I park in his driveway, and I call him. And he's just like asking about my day, asking what I'm doing. And he's like, well, we've been waiting on this day, June 1st, and, we want to offer you. It was a surreal experience. And it's something that I'm never going to forget for as long as I live.
And then when Coach Boulware, you're on the phone with him, and he's like, Max, man, we're so excited to offer you, man. We want you to come be a Clemson Tiger. Like, what's going through your head in that surreal moment to know, like, hey, this is a childhood dream come true?
I told him, I'm like, Coach, I'm all in. I'm committing, but I want to do it in person, so it's official. So I'm just like, in my head, I'm just like, wow. It's just a little part of little 4-year-old Max came back out for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And like, man, we made it. But I can't get too comfortable. Gotta keep my head down and keep working, because I got to work on, and then I got this season. I'm going 15-0 this season. That's the goal.
That's the goal, brother. And then how big of a recruiter was your big bro, Sammy Brown? I mean, and for you, bro, how excited were you just to see him have the success as a true freshman? ACC Newcomer of the Year, Defensive Player, all those good accolades just that early on in his career.
He was a pretty good recruiter. I mean, he really sold it for me. And even just going on the visits with him, going on his OV, that was like selling it for me as well. Just seeing him, like 1 year after me and him being on the field together, making all these plays on the field, making all these awards, it just really makes me really proud of him. And also a sense of hunger for me, because my goal for me is just to be better than him, but not be an exact replica of him. I'm making my own path, paving my own way.
Yes, sir.
Making people know that I'm not somebody's little brother.
Exactly. And so if you had to say, who's the better of the two?
So that's a difficult question, because we have two really different play types. Sammy's more of a Like my dad says he had to push Sammy out because he was a little bit like, I wouldn't say timid, but like he was, I don't know, but he has to pull me back sometimes because I get really into it. I play with a lot of passion, and just things that like build up in my mind over the week. I harness that and I use it on the field to my advantage.
100%. Can you talk about that element too? Because I don't know if you remember this match, but I talked about it. Like I was working out. I seen you in there with your teammate Douglas Callahan. You're working out as well, y'all. And I mean, like, bro, this is another classic, but it's an All-Star game, and you're going ham in the weight room. So talk about just that energy, that drive, just to always be great.
I'm always motivated by the fear of being just average. I always want to be the greatest version of myself that I can be, and just to let people know, like, as soon as I walk in the room, like, you don't want to mess with that guy. He's here for a reason, and just always got to be somebody that people look at and they're just like, yeah, he's a dude right there.
100%, man. And then how excited are you just to get coached by Ben Boulware? We know obviously he was a Clemson great. We see what he was able to accomplish in his career with the Tigers. But just having somebody that not too long ago was playing the exact same position you were playing, how exciting is that for you?
That's really exciting. Like, I'm super ready to get up there and get coached by him. I think it's going to be great for me because me and him are really similar in the way that we play. Like, we're both 6 foot. We're both not the most athletic. We're both not like just athletic genetic freaks like 6'2", like what Sammy is. But we play with a bunch of passion. We play with our head on fire. We have great instincts, and it's just going to be really good, especially just for anybody, because he's been there at the same school, won a national championship with the same school, overcame mental blocks with the same coach. It's just going to be really good, and he's a really good coach, and he has a bunch of energy. Him and Coach Allen both have a bunch of energy.
%. And then for you, what's been your favorite thing about the Clemson experience? Not necessarily getting recruited, but I'm actually talking about when you've been to games, if you've been able to been around campus. What's just been your favorite part about just the whole Clemson experience?
I've liked to just seeing all the different cultures and how they differ, how they're similar, and just the energy around different places. Because, I mean, I'm all in. I'm committed to Clemson, but I'll tell you, there's something different about night games at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee. I mean, I'll tell you, I was at the Alabama game, and it was rocking. And Dukes has a gorgeous campus, and even University of Florida has a really cool campus. And, it's just really cool just seeing all the different things, all the different towns, all different cultures and traditions. It's really cool.
100%, brother. And then, for you, Max, a couple more before I let you go. Now that you're submitting this 2027, I don't foresee you going anywhere. I'm sure you're locked in with Clemson probably the rest of the way. What are you doing in terms of just recruiting this class, this 2027, some other players?
What I've been doing so far is that every person I've seen get an offer, I've been following them on the gram, shooting them a text like, hey, this is the place to go. This is the place to be. Sweeney's the best coach in college football right now. You can come play for the best. Come play with the best players.
100%, man. And is there any certain players you're looking for, or it doesn't matter?
Right now, I'm hitting Josh Dobson in the corner really hard. Teddy Gerard, I'm hitting him real hard because I'm pretty sure he's about to get that offer soon. And the receiver from Florida, I'm hitting him really hard because we have like a big 2027 group chat.
Wow. Okay. All right, brother. 2 more. I'm going to let you go, man. Obviously, you talked about your goals going 15-0. You are a very team-oriented player, so I know individual stats doesn't really necessarily mean the same thing to you. But just what are some individual goals you got for yourself, Max, for this season? Any tackle goals, interceptions? I know you want to make a lot of negative plays. What's some of your goals for yourself?
This year, I'm going to be playing on both sides of the ball. So I'm going to want to have, let's say, 10 rushing touchdowns, over 100 tackles, 10 TFLs, and 2 interceptions.
Ooh. All right, man. That's some good goals, man. And then,
yes, sir.
In terms of keeping your brother did it. You've done it at a high level too. A lot of people don't know that you've been doing it since you were, obviously youth football, playing both sides. How do you keep yourself fresh? Because you're throwing your body out there on both ends. How do you stay fresh throughout the season for you?
It's 2 things for me. You just got to keep on working, keep it in shape. I like to do a bunch of stuff with a weighted vest, just going on runs, going on walks with a weighted vest, keep my stamina right. And 2, you got to have that mindset that, like, that don't hurt. I can worry about it after the game. I got my brothers behind me. They're relying on me. I got to go out and give it all I got.
Love it, man. Last question, man. Give me a message or something you would like to say to the Clemson faithful, the Tigers fans that are going to get the chance to watch this.
Hey, just be ready. 2 years, I'm coming, and I'm going to make a message. I'm going to put Jefferson, Georgia on the map. I'm putting Commerce, Georgia on the map, and putting Clemson back on top. We're going to have the best defense. The Brown brothers are going to make a mess everywhere we go.
I love it, man. Go enjoy that pool, man. I just want to say thanks so much, brother, for coming on. I know you didn't have to do this, man, but it means a lot to me, man. Appreciate you, man, and much love as always.
Yes, sir, for sure.
All right, man. There he goes, man. Max Brown, man. I appreciate y'all tuning in. One of the best in the country, man. Already got his decision. Will be one to watch continue for this season. Remember, they made it to the state championship last year and played up against Calhoun. He officially has shut down his recruitment and his commitment. So I appreciate him coming on. That's going to do it for today's episode. See y'all in the next one.
Great teams are committed, focused on the details, and work hard to be their best. From practice to games, right down to their gear. Your field is a critical part of the game that allows your athletes to showcase their athletic abilities. Sports Turf is committed to bringing your team innovative sports surfaces with unparalleled performance. You bring the vision. Our team brings it to life.
This makes my dad proud. He went through his whole career as an employee. Now I'm the employer, something he didn't achieve.
We are signatory to IBEW and do IBEW people wherever we go that we feel like they are faster and better than any of our competition.
The advantages of being a signatory contractor is you're trained employees. You have unlimited manpower. It allows me to bid on jobs that I ordinarily would not go after.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Man, you know how to do this?
Man, I don't even know. I was flipping burgers last week.
Violation, unsportsmanlike conduct, impersonating a craftsman.
Skilled trade unions are well-trained career pros, not part-timers. Construction is a rewarding and lucrative career with the advancement potential, but you have to do it the right way with the right training. Learn how you can be a pro. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
All right, welcome back. Y'all know what time it is, man. As y'all can see in the graphic right behind me. Yes, sir. Let him cook. So we're going to be highlighting all the players from across Georgia. It's going over some film. We used to call it underrated overlooked, but we got a new segment. We call it Let Him Cook. So we're going to start with Evan Harvey of Sandy Creek. Memphis commit. We will have a story coming out soon on that and him committing obviously to the Tigers. But let's break down the film and do a little bit of a Let Him Cook. Yes, sir. All right, y'all. As y'all can see right here out on the edge. Good move on the inside, but good play recognition right there. Seeing that that is a screen pass, picking it off and taking it all the way to the crib, to the apartments for the touchdown. Great play recognition right there. And then right here, obviously, you're going to see that technique. As you can see, he's kind of lined up inside. Look at him split those two guys. Let's get a replay on that real quick, Max. As you guys can see, love it. He goes. Okay, no replay, no worries at all. But right there, as you guys can see, he splits it. Right here, look at him get low. Bam! Hits him right in the backfield. I mean, just showcasing his ability as an edge rusher right there, getting skinny in the hole. And then right here, just waiting. Okay, I'm going to come down. I'm going to come get you, right? Great job right there, containing the edge and being able, obviously, to slow him down. And then right here, just being able to get through the screen, obviously right there, and then boom, tackle him right down, right there. Great job on interior getting low. And then pause right there. Can't pause? Okay, no worries. All right, as you guys see right here, boom, look and get in between two guys and then just engulf the running back right there, not let him go anywhere, slam him to the ground. Great job yet again. And then right here, look like he's one-on-one. Being able to see the great player recognition right there, good wrap up, what you want to see from your, obviously, edge rusher, you know what I'm saying, right there. And then we're going to get a little bit of motion. Boom, look at him, just right in the backfield. As soon as the play comes, tries to get it out, just blows the play up, right? A-plus play from Harvey, being able to get into, obviously, the backfield. And same thing right here, look at him use his hands, get the guy off, boom. See that he's going to get rid of it quick. Great open field tackle again. So, I mean, you can see, obviously, guys, what this kid is able to do, right? In the same breath, he has the ability, obviously, to get up, squirt through, obviously, those tight holes, you know what I'm saying, where they are blocking, being able to get through, obviously, double teams, and then also being able to use his hands and his ability, obviously, to recognize the play as it's happening. So, for me, checks a lot of boxes. Play recognition. Can you get skinny in the hole and split a double team? Can you contain the quarterback when he's trying to get off to the edge? Yes, yes, yes. So, obviously, that is why he has a 3-star ranking. Outstanding player. Evan Harvey of Sandy Creek, man, committed to the Memphis Tigers. Will be one to watch on that defensive line for the Patriots, and there will be a contender. There will be a contender this year in 3A. All right, second portion of Let Him Cook. We're gonna go to Joel Kambe. He's now playing for Cal, but this film is obviously going to start with, I believe, Harrison. But a great job on the back end, as you can see right here, being able to read it, going up against Osborne right here. And when he picks the ball off, y'all, he's not just looking, you know what I'm saying, to go down. He's looking to score, you know. And right here against stellar competition, he's playing that safety right there. Ball's out quick, good recognition, pick, following his convoy right there, and being able to make a nice play on the ball against North Cobb this past year. A really good team, obviously, in 6A. We know the year they had with Nick Grimstead. They're right here kind of playing that single high safety. All right, he's responsible for that guy. He's cutting across his face and letting him just stay in phase the whole time. Follow the ball, boom. Go make a play on the ball and deflect it out of the air. What you want to see. Boom, can he tackle? Bam! Yes, he can. I wish we had replay because I would show that one more time. But in that play, as you guys can see, he goes and completely lights him up. All right, right here, here's the screen. Guy gets loose. Where's Kambe? He's going to chase this play down. I think he might have been on offense on that play. All right, here he is, middle of the screen. Boom, here's that deep ball going up against McEachern. And then boom, look at him track that football and deflect it loose. Big time play that could have happened, but he doesn't allow it to right there. And then boom, here it is out quick, boom. Look at him close on that ball right there. When he's going to get you, you're going to feel him. And he makes you feel him on that play. Right here out quick, look at that tackle. Can he tackle in open space? Check. And as you guys can see there, he can also cover very well. It's great ball skills and also has great instincts. Right here, one-on-one, boom, play the ball in the air, turn it over, obviously get the ball back to my team. Right here in the red zone, running, coming his way. He's the last line of defense. Boom, stands him up, throws him down, what you want to see. And obviously you guys see he's not the biggest guy, but he's slamming guys down. And then on offense on the high school level, he's showing you his ability in space, right? Ability to make defenders miss, boom, drop that shoulder. I mean, that is what you want to see. That's that physicality. You can't teach that. You either got it or you don't. And obviously, he has it. And then right here, he's playing that slot position role. Plays coming to his side. Great job right there, blowing it up. Again, against McEachern again, playing kind of in the middle. Sees that crossing route, completely blows the play up. So as you can see, man, Joel Kambe is that guy. This is why teams like Tennessee, South Carolina are interested in him, even Georgia. Now, I don't know how much Georgia is going to push for him to try to land Kambe. You know what I'm saying? But as you can see, this guy is that dude. And like I said, he's not the biggest in stature, but the physicality, his ability to obviously tackle in open space, his ability to read the field and also dissect what's happening, and also his instinctualness and his ball skills make him a can't-miss prospect. So we will see. He just had obviously an OV to South Carolina, which he talked very highly of when I talked to him, and he really likes the Gamecocks. Got a couple more coming up. But it's just going to be so cool to see what he brings to that Cal team. We've seen it right there with Harrison, but he's going to have way more talent around him with a Jalen Williams, with a Tony Forkpaw, obviously a Braden Rouse. There's a lot of guys all around that Cal team. And I'm just talking defensively. See, we've seen some clips on there on offense. He won't even have to do all that. He'll be on the defensive side of the ball this year, and we saw what he can do. He ain't afraid to tackle. He ain't afraid to make you feel him. All right? So let's go to the third edition of Let Him Cook. And let's go ahead and start with Will Rajecki of Sequoia. Outstanding season for this young man, obviously for Sequoia, and what they were able to do right here. Man, he ran loose and ran up against Gainesville, man. This is the game right here. Over 200 yards on the ground with 4 touchdowns. And as you can see where he's improved the most, his burst of speed, right? Ability to break loose. And this is a really good, talented defensive line. Don't forget that. They have Xavier Griffin. They have top-end prospects. But right here, ability to catch the ball and be able to get out, right? And he's already beating his blockers right here. Ability to turn it up and make a play real quick, out quick. He goes and runs away. But that's where he's taking that step, that burst of speed. And as you can see here, once he gets north and south, he's not playing games. He's not dancing. He's getting up the field quickly and making a play. And then right here, we see a little bit of emotion, a little eye candy right there, a little wheel route, and he cooks the defense for 6. I mean, that is what he does. That ability to catch the ball out of the backfield makes him a true weapon, and also the ability to run in between the tackles, right? Break that linebacker's tackle right there, burst of speed, get to the end zone. Exactly what you want to see, obviously, from Rajecki. Same thing here, running in between the tackles right here, and it's too fast. It looks like he's jogging, but you see that speed and how easy he makes it look, obviously, right there. And then boom, ooh, look at that come right there. Touch the grass, I'm out. Touchdown, tutty, easy money for me. Again for Will Rajecki right here. And then can he block? Boom. Look him take that guy, move him out of the way, bam, all the way to the ground, man. That's what you want to see out of your running back. You want to see him be able to do things just like that. Block and ability, obviously, running between the tackles, make guys miss, turn on the jets in the speed, get to that second level, as you guys can see there, and make the defense pay. And Rajecki checks those boxes. Right here, boom. Taking on, obviously, the edge rusher, gets nowhere near his quarterback, leads to a touchdown. Right here, that versatility. Ooh, look at that inside route he cooked the defender on. Easy touchdown. He ran that like a receiver. And then right here, a little bubble screen, out quick. Blockers are out in front. Only got one guy to beat. Good cut inside, and makes it look easy for the easy money touchdown. Then right here, out on the edge, protecting his quarterback. Nowhere near him again. Completely negates him out of the play. And then same thing here. Good move on the inside, breaking tackles. One cut, and look at that speed. Look how blazing that guy's going. Oh, my goodness, man. Will Rajecki, he is the real deal. He's going to be on the show in our segment 5. We're going to have a chance to talk to him. But the film tells you all you need to know about Will Rajecki and how potent and how good he is, man. He's that guy. Recently visited Kansas State, has some more visits coming up. We will break it down with him in a little bit. But coming up after the break, we'll talk to Dawgs247 reporter and analyst Benjamin Wolk.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
A journeyman with Local 85, when you turn out, you can be hitting 6 figures.
Hey, I have your back, you have my back. We're gonna do this together. We're one for all for one.
College just wasn't for me. Let's look into actual career jobs that wouldn't take college, where I wouldn't, lose money and all that. Instead of losing a lot more money at the end, why not make money and make more money at the end?
What happens after you graduate? Will you go to the next level? Will people have your back in the heat of the battle? Will you still train like a champion in pursuit of greatness? You will when you become an IBEW electrician. Join our team. Visit IBEW613.org.
So inside Georgia High School recruiting with Najeh Wilkins, we have a great guest on, Benjamin Wolk of Dawgs247. Super excited to talk to him about the latest going on with Georgia. It's official visit weekend. We got a UGA 707 coming up tomorrow and much, much more, man. So let's welcome on our guest, Benjamin Wolk of 247. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? Always glad to be on. How are you?
I'm doing good, brother. Appreciate you coming on my debut show, man. I know you've been busy as always, man, but what's new, man? What's the latest?
We're in the heat of official visit season right now, so it's really what happened last weekend, what's coming up next weekend. We know that commitments are happening on the fly. Commitments are happening with scheduled events coming up here at the end of June and July, so it's really about as busy of a time as you're going to find in high school football recruiting.
100%. And then let's just go over the official visits. I believe we have a graphic for it, but some big-time hitters in here, obviously, for Georgia. So if you want to ask you about some in-state, some out-of-state, but obviously, this list is just off the charts, right? Savion Hitler, an outstanding player for Virginia, 5-star prospect. Tennessee wants him. You got Graham Houston, who was obviously there. Georgia commit, Seven Cloud. Zachary Lewis, who we'll talk about here in just a second, P.J. Dean, Rodney Cleveland, who I know Georgia is after. Just recap this weekend for me a little bit, Ben, and kind of what happened and how they're sitting with some of these prospects.
Well, I think it's sort of twofold. I mean, on one hand, they had 4 commits that they already had in the class on campus, and in a few of their cases, Brady Marchese, Seven Cloud, they were trying to, Keelan Jones, they were trying to use this weekend to really lock those guys down into this class. I think that they had a lot of success in doing so. I mean, I think Seven Cloud is one, a guy that Georgia really views as maybe the best defensive lineman in JUCO or high school right now across the entire country. And so being able to make sure that he was sound in his Georgia commitment was important. He's been to Georgia the last 2 weekends, once as an unofficial visitor and once as an official visitor. And I think that they really did an outstanding job of really locking him into Georgia's 2026 class. On the other side of things, the non-commit side of things, I mean, I think this is typically the second weekend of June is more of a swing for the fences type of weekend for Georgia, where they really like to, bring in their targets that they don't necessarily sit in pole position for, but they think that they can take a swing and see how things go after this weekend. A couple of guys that I think things went well with this weekend were from North Shore in Houston, defensive back Chase Kellicutt. Georgia's really the only one recruiting him as a corner. Others are recruiting him as a safety. P.J. Dean, Ekene Igboko are a couple of guys on the line of scrimmage that have family ties to Georgia through Nnamdi Igboko, through Jared Wilson as their younger brothers. And so I think Georgia's in pretty good position there, but in both of those cases, we still got to wait and see because they're not necessarily planning to close things down before they take the rest of their official visits.
100%. And then obviously you talked about Chase Kellicutt and where they sit, recruit him as a corner. Where do they sit with guys like Hitler and obviously Rodney Cleveland? Yeah,
so Savion Hyder, he's probably who Georgia views as the best running back in the country. And I think that probably if you were to ask most personnel departments around the Southeast or nationally who's the best running back in the country, I think a lot of people would say Savion Hyder. And I think that there's reason for that. His film stands out. Physicality stands out. I mean, this is a guy that is very well thought of, not just in the 2026 class, but also when you're looking back at the 2025, 2024 class and where he stacks up among all of the running backs that come out of the high school ranks through those cycles. And so it's going to be competitive. Michigan's heavily in it. Tennessee's heavily in it. But, I've been saying it over at Dawgs247 for a couple of weeks now. I think Georgia is more in the hunt here, or at least Georgia feels as though it's more in the hunt here than I think that they've been talked about when it comes to the national narrative. And so as a result, I think that it'll be interesting to watch that one unfold. Now, he still has visits to Michigan and Tennessee, which probably is going to cause some sleepless nights in Athens when it comes to landing that top running back target.
For sure. And then, obviously, let's talk about the big one this past weekend. Zachary Lewis, he committed. I talked to him. Obviously, he wasn't set to commit until July, but the official visit went really well. So just what were you hearing kind of out of their camp and why you decided to just, pull the trigger on that?
Well, for starters, this is a guy, I was talking with him last week, and he was telling me the story of when he was 4 and 5 years old, he would record the Georgia games the day before on Saturday, and then Sunday morning he'd wake up and he'd eat his waffles and he'd watch Georgia games. So this is a guy that was born to be in Georgia's recruiting class, and I think when you turn on the film with him, or if you've seen him in any kind of camp settings, this is a guy that wins his one-on-one reps. He's very technically sound. The knock on him has always been his size. When you throw on his junior film, he was playing at 240, 245, it's very easy to think, well, really, if you turn on his sophomore film, you could really look at him and say, is that a tight end or is that an offensive tackle? You could, make the conversation for both. But his film screams offensive tackle or screams center, just the type of guy that could come in and dominate the point of attack. He can lead an offense. What is impressive about Zachary Lewis, he was about 245 when he camped at Georgia last summer. He's 285 right now. And I think that Georgia and others, Georgia Tech, South Carolina, some of the other top schools recruiting him, really challenged him to say, hey, all you do, the fire, the grit, the intensity, the mentality, your knowledge of the game, all of these things check all the boxes. but you can't play competitive Power 4 football at 245. It's just not possible. And, he's steadily gone from 245 to 260 and 260 to 270. And then this past spring, he really made that jump from 270 to 286 is what I've heard he's measured in most recently. And, I think that has really earned him his spot at Georgia. And I think the tape has always said this is a guy that could play at Georgia, and he just needed the SEC type of measurables to come along with it.
It's a great story, obviously, by you, Ben. Great intel as well in that recruitment and kind of how he's built his body, obviously to fit the Georgia mold. Next up, I want to ask you, it's a big time, 7-on-7. I know Georgia's very strict with the media, but just what teams that you know of are going to be there, and what are you excited just to hear about or see at the 7-on-7 tomorrow?
It's funny because, like you said, Georgia doesn't give access to their 7-on-7s and camps the way that a lot of other programs might. And so I sometimes hesitate to even speak on them because I don't get to see them in person. And you and I know just from getting to see that out in person, how valuable getting eyes on people actually is to be able to speak one way or another on things. That said, what always fascinates me is not necessarily specific teams. the Miltons, the Graysons, the Bufords of the world, they're going to be at Georgia over the next several weeks when it comes to off-season 7-on-7s. That said, what's always fascinating to me is who is the guy that we've heard about in the Georgia world for the last few years that goes to a Georgia 7-on-7 and kind of just dominates. The one that comes to mind for me 2 years ago was Sokovie White, where he was at Georgia and Georgia knew about him. Everyone around the state who'd ever seen Sokovie play said, all right, yeah, this is an undersized guy or a shorter than most college wide receivers guy who dominates every setting that he's in. He goes to that Georgia 7-on-7, takes it over entirely, becomes a take almost immediately for Georgia, winds up in the class, and someone that's really, even though he's had limited in-game reps up to this point, has someone that Georgia feels really, really good about moving forward as well. And so I know that there are going to be people like that over the next, tomorrow, but also moving forward over the next couple of weeks those things are going to arise. And those are the ones that always fascinate me to hear who that ends up being.
For sure. And then, Ben, obviously, you've been a fixture. You've gone to Georgia Tech, Corey Kell 7-on-7. As we obviously pull up the graphic here, just, what teams are you maybe excited to see? I know you're not there today, but just maybe over the next few days, or what days do you plan to attend? What's kind of next for you?
Yeah, no, I was going to go today, but I wanted to make sure I was able to do your show. No, I'm just kidding. I had something else that came up later today that made me have to adjust things. But, I'll say today, what I'm disappointed about missing out on today, I want to see Prince Avenue Christian. I wanted to see Southwest DeKalb. Jordan Christie's a slot wide receiver that I really, really like in the state of Georgia in the 2027 class. And then Andrew Beard is a running back at Prince Avenue Christian that I obviously really, really like, as well as Terrius Favors. If we're talking 2026 things, Terrius Favors at Carver Atlanta is someone that, anytime that anybody has seen him in person, that you've gotten to see an explosive football player. Really this time of year, and I don't know about you, but I feel like this time of year when I'm at these things, looking ahead to the 2027s or 2028s that stand out is really what probably connects the most because, a lot of 2026s at this point in time, they've sort of focused on their recruitments during this time of year. Not to say they're not at these 7-on-7 events, but they have really big, important decisions to be making this time of year. And so that's sort of watered down the 2026 side of things at these events. And so I think it's a great opportunity to see, all right, who are the 2027s, 2028s that are really making an early impact?
For sure. And last question before we let you go, Ben, just talk about, what's kind of coming up this weekend for Georgia. Obviously, another official visit weekend. Just who do you know that is going to be in attendance in Athens?
Yeah, so another big-time official visit weekend, maybe a little bit less in volume than some of the past couple of weekends, but heavy on the commit front. Jared Curtis is going to be back in town. Zach Fort is going to be back in town. Lincoln Keys. So a couple of guys that are already committed in Georgia's class. When we're looking ahead, Vance Spafford is one that's committed that Georgia's trying to hold off Miami and Washington and others. So that will be big. When we're looking ahead to uncommitted guys, Tyreek Green's actually shifted around his official visit schedule. So he'll be in Athens this weekend instead of next weekend, a big safety target out of Buford for Georgia. From the state of Florida, a cornerback high-profile recruitment, C.J. Hester. He's going to be in Athens this weekend as well. And then keeping an eye, I brought up Terrius Favors earlier, but, you know, we're talking about Vance Spafford in that slot for Georgia right now and where things end up with him. Terrius Favors is another big target for Georgia, currently committed to Boise State. We'll see how things unfold this week and moving forward. But the big name that I'm looking at this weekend is Brett Collier, and I guess you could say Derek Cooper as well. A running back from South Florida and then an offensive guard from IMG Academy. Two recruitments that I think Georgia is head-to-head with Miami right now down the stretch, and this is going to be Georgia's last chance when they've both already been to Miami as well.
100%. Well, Ben, I appreciate you so much, brother, for coming on the show, man, giving me your intel. Always good to have you on, man, and enjoy the rest of the week in official visit season.
Yeah, absolutely. Great seeing you.
Yes, sir. Good seeing you too, brother. All right, guys, coming up after the break, we will officially welcome on Will Rajecki. Talk a little about his recruitment, his official visit to Kansas State, and much, much more right here.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
A journeyman with Local 85, when you turn out, you can be hitting six figures.
Hey, I have your back, you have my back. We're gonna do this together. We're one for all for one.
College just wasn't for me. Let's look into actual career jobs that wouldn't take college, where I wouldn't, lose money and all that. Instead of losing a lot more money at the end, why not make money and make more money at the end?
What happens after you graduate? Will you go to the next level? Will people have your back in the heat of the battle? Will you still train like a champion in pursuit of greatness? You will when you become an IBEW electrician. Join our team. Visit IBEW613.org.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
A journeyman with Local 85, when you turn out, you can be hitting six figures.
Hey, I have your back, you have my back. We're gonna do this together. We're one for all for one.
College just wasn't for me. Let's look into actual career jobs that wouldn't take college, where I wouldn't, lose money and all that. Instead of losing a lot more money at the end, why not make money and make more money at the end?
What happens after you graduate? Will you go to the next level?
All right, welcome back to Inside Georgia High School Recruiting with Najeh Wilkins. We're talking about Will Rajecki. We're still trying to get him, obviously, on the show. But we're just going to go through some of the things that he's been able to accomplish so far in his prep career. Obviously, we rolled his tape and talked about just a little bit of a film breakdown, what stood out to us But also, when you break down his game, I mean, it's a phenomenal year. Like, this graphic tells it all, right? 1,072 rushing yards, 15 rushing touchdowns, nearly 2,000 all-purpose, depending on where you look, and also 20 touchdowns. But when we broke down this film, guys, we were seeing his ability to win in space, right? Being able to hit that second gear and break away from defenders. We're also seeing his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. Not just screen plays. A lot of times you see screen plays with running backs. You'll see, obviously getting it out quick, little dump offs. Like, this guy's running receiver routes, right? And what was kind of the epitome of that was him in the red zone, right? Him running that slant route and being able to just to size up his defender right there and being able to cook the cornerback for the score. So I think what's going to be interesting is this is one of those guys, reminds me a little bit of a Cam Scatterbo. No, he's not as big, but he's a guy that can do a little bit of everything for you, at the running back spot. We've seen him also blocking, sending defenders to the ground, and he checks a lot of boxes for college coaches. And he's still, even though with the 3-star ranking, very underrated as obviously a running back. And as you guys can see here, obviously with Rusty Manziel, just competing at one of his camps, but you see him starting to fill out, right? The work he's putting in the weight room, how he's improving his game, how he's getting better. You see the differences and what makes him great. So I think it's going to be interesting to see just his continued growth. Obviously, this past weekend was at Kansas State, but just his ability on the gridiron is what makes him special. And like I said, ran for 209 yards and 4 touchdowns against a really good defensive front, obviously, for, Gainesville. But here on his official visit, as you guys can see some great photos at Kansas State, he just feels like a Big Ten running back. Not saying he's going to go there. I know he's very high on Georgia. He likes the program, likes what they can do. But I wouldn't be shocked if he went to Kansas State and ended up becoming, obviously, a Wildcat. He kind of epitomizes what the Big Ten looks for when looking for a physical, hard-nosed running back that has great burst of speed, can block, and also can catch it out of the backfield. He just really, obviously, reminisces that. So, great player, great prospect. I know his dad's been hitting me up for the longest, so I definitely wanted to make him part of my first show. He's been a phenomenal player to cover. I know Sequoia had one of the best seasons in program history. I believe they went 10-2. If not, they went 10-3. They had one of their best years going deep into the playoffs. I think one of the deepest playoff runs they've had in such a long time. And you're seeing more people recruit them. We talked about Kansas State. We talked about Georgia. And here, obviously, this photo shows Auburn and what, he's just been able to do. So, outstanding player and prospect. Can't wait to follow his journey. I know we're closing down, obviously, on the show, but we're going to try to get him back on, for sure. We're definitely going to try to get him on for an exclusive interview to break everything down with him as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun to cover this kid. And, again, as you can see from the film we broke down earlier, just that burst of speed, man, getting north and south quickly, not wasting any time, and then the ability to run in between the tackles, break loose, and be able to show, how good he is in the open space, man. But we're going to leave it there, obviously, with Will. I do want to talk about something before we wrap up the show for today, and that is, it is a big weekend for the 2027 class. And I know you guys will be like, well, what's going on? June 15th is the official start of when guys can start getting recruited officially from college. As been alluded to, obviously, in our interview, can't wait to see the 2027s, 2028s at these 707s to kind of see who's up next. But June 15th is when coaches can start, sending letters, sending mail, being able to communicate. Before that, they can't really do that. So now it is officially when they can start recruiting for that next class coming up. Yes, they will still be recruiting the 2026 class, obviously going after some guys, seeing who obviously, falls through the cracks and trying to recruit them to come into the program. But now it officially starts for 2027. Some of the highly rated guys that you'll see, obviously Elijah Patman is a huge one. KJ Green of Stevenson is another huge 2027 recruit. Obviously, Teddy Gerard's been blowing up with offers and being able to do what he can do. Obviously, the 2027 class, Andrew Beard is another high-end prospect for that class. You obviously look at running back from Brookwood, Braden Tyson. It's going to be so cool to see. And I do have a funny feeling to say this to you guys. I do think this is probably one of the deeper classes in Georgia in quite some time in 2027. It feels very deep at the quarterback spot. Kareem Hughley. Obviously, can't forget about C.J. Peoples. You obviously can't forget about Teddy Gerard. Very deep class. And there's more guys at 27 I haven't even mentioned. Jace Johnson down there at Lowndes is another one. Outstanding prospect with what he's able to do. So there's a lot of guys in that class. And their running back is very top-heavy. You look at Beard. You obviously look at Tyson. And there's going to be more that emerge out of this class to see what they have. you know what I'm saying, and see what kind of comes to fray. 2027 is beginning to kind of blow up. We're seeing the Jordan Christians of the world becoming a prominent prospect in this class out of Southwest DeKalb. There's a lot of players to watch out for. Edge rushers, LaDamian Guyton. We already talked about KJ Green. Linebackers also as well to watch out for. Edge rushers like Jaden Worth. So many guys to watch out for in this upcoming class. And it's going to be so fun to cover it. And obviously 2028 is coming up as they try to make their mark in their name and so much more, man. So appreciate you guys tuning in for the debut episode of Inside Georgia High School Recruiting with Najeh Wilkins. If you want a chance to be on the show, y'all know what to do, man. Hit my DM on X at Najeh Wilk. That's NAJEHWILK for a chance to be on the show. If you want me to break down your film on Let 'Em Cook, do the same thing, man. We highlight everybody, and we also bring on some of the experts and analysts. We've been talking to people all across the state. Jeremy Johnson, we'll have him on the show. Caleb Sisk of Tennessee. Have so much more coming up. So you know where to go, you know where to be. Make sure you always tune in. And you can watch us on the Score Atlanta YouTube page for the summer series. Again, we will be on the Peachtree Sports Network on August 4th officially. But for now, we will be on the Score Atlanta YouTube page. And we'll have a lot of commitments, a lot of big-time things coming up. But we'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure you catch us, obviously, on the Score Atlanta YouTube page. And we'll see you soon.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
Beginning the morning you opened your eyes, we spent every waking moment preparing you for the day you'd leave our nest. Whether it's driving to practice or helping with homework, it's all prepared you for, what am I going to be when I grow up? Will you be ready?
After much thought, I made my decision to take my talents to the IBEW Local 613.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers is not simply a job, it's a career. Visit IBEW613.org to begin a new future today.